everybody. Welcome back to the Greek Life Podcast. Welcome back to episode 4. If you are new here, thank you for joining us. If you're not, like I already said, welcome back. This episode, we're going to be talking a little bit about queer spaces and Greek life. And today we have a super awesome, amazing guest named Chris, and I will let him talk a little bit more about himself.
Hello. Yes, my name is Chris. I am a proud brother of Sigma Lambda Beta International Fraternity Incorporated. I crossed spring 20, so a little old, not old, but we were in COVID, we were in tough times.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I'm super excited to be here today.
Yes. Well,
Excited to
thank
have
you
you.
for Yes, thank you for joining us for sure. So, okay, since I'm a COVID line, let's get a little bit into that. So, how was that
Okay.
like for you during COVID, like joining Greek life?
Yeah, so Greek life was something that I've always wanted. Like I didn't go into college being already knowing that I wanted to go into Greek life. I
Mm,
saw people on the yard and I saw like the culture of Greek life. Um, so then I was like, this looks interesting. But like I didn't know how friendly they were gonna be. So when I started to join, I was interested fall 19, and then I couldn't do it because I was trying to get into nursing school at the time. So then spring 20 happened, and I was like, all right, this semester I'm gonna do it. This is it. Like I got to do it.
mm.
And then boom, COVID. And I was like, oh,
You're like,
this is great.
fun.
Yeah, so we had our journey was interesting. So it took a long time. Finally, we crossed May 23rd. So we were online from January till May. It was a long time.
Yeah, my process was long too because of COVID as well, like having to like lengthen it out. So I definitely relate on that aspect. So um because you're from like SFA's campus, like that's where you cross and everything. What's
Yes.
the difference between? Because I know that anytime I go to a school that's not like in the DFW, it's so different, at least to
Yeah.
me. So like whenever you are like, what's the difference between the two schools?
Yeah, so I crossed at SFA Stephen F. Austin in good old Nacogdoches, Texas, the oldest
Mhm.
town, but the boldest town in the state of Texas. That's like their slogan. Um,
I was gonna say, I've
but
been, and I don't know what's bold about it, but
girl, no, it was an interesting city to live in, especially being like an openly gay queer person. Um, it was tough dealing with all the conservativeness. I remember my first semester there, it was they had like a KKK rally in downtown. And my mom was like, "This is the school you want to go to?" And I'm like, they
continue.
offered me money, so I, that was the
Okay.
only reason.
Mhm.
But the Greek life there, um, it was predominantly IFC Panhellenic is what I saw, and it
Mhm.
really didn't interest me because I didn't see any people of color.
Mhm.
So I started looking into the D9. Definitely wasn't my vibe. So then I looked into MGC, and it was people who looked like me, well, brown, but it was very interesting to be openly gay and wanting to join a fraternity. I expected to get looks and expected to get questioned a lot for my decisions, but
Mhm.
um, my brothers didn't treat me any different. And
Okay.
once I joined the fraternity and I crossed the being openly gay and wearing my letters, people stared at me and was just like, "What the heck? Like this is
Mhm.
weird. Like this is not something you see every day."
Mhm.
Because I do wear makeup and I am very masculine and I am very feminine at the same time. Like I'm in touch with both sides of the spectrum. Um,
Mhm.
so the Greek life there was just loving and very open minded
Mhm.
for me, someone like me, to join. Um, and I really appreciate them for that. It was a tough time, especially coming from a very conservative school and a small campus, trying to
Mhm.
find my own avenue. MGC had my heart, and there's more people who look like me in MGC at SFA, and it just
Mhm.
makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Um, so it definitely was a learning experience. So now
Mhm.
moving from a more smaller campus to a larger campus, So at SFA, there was only 5 organizations. So
Oh,
then when I came to UNT for my master's, it
mhm,
is like, holy cow, like there's so many organizations. And it was
mhm,
definitely a culture shock for me. But I loved it. It was a culture shock in a good way where I was invested to learn more and invested to meet more people from different cultures that are South Asian or organizations that were religious affiliated. It was just so awesome that everyone could find their family and their community. So
mhm.
yeah, it was definitely a culture shock.
That's cool. I didn't realize how small SFA was. Like, I feel like I know a lot of people that went to school there or like graduated from there, but and it always looks like they're always partying, going out, having fun. Like, obviously, it's like pre-COVID, um, but like for them to have the same amount of MGC orgs that we have at TWU is kind of like kind of weird.
Right,
Um,
it's crazy.
yeah. Um, but that's really cool. So, like, where are you from? Because you said that you
Yeah,
went.
so I am from Balch Springs, Texas, Mesquite. I went to Mesquite ISD schools, Poteet High School. And
Mm-hmm.
then from there, I went to SFA and I was at school there for a while. I graduated in the fall of 2021 with my bachelor's in rehabilitation services.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, helping people with disabilities. And my concentration is in deaf and hard of hearing services. So then from there, I transferred to UNT for grad school,
Mm-hmm.
and now I'm doing rehabilitation counseling with the emphasis in like concentration in the autism spectrum, wanting to do mental health counseling for people who are autistic on the higher functioning side, helping
Mm-hmm.
them process their emotions is what I want to do. So
That's props to you. I work with like I do a lot of stuff with kids. And kids with autism are definitely a challenge. They
yes,
are so sweet and so like it's very rewarding to work with students or kids or people who have autism, but I just do not have the like patience for it. Like I had a kid
yes, yes.
who was nonverbal this past school year and I was like, bruh, like because
It's
like
so
the thing
hard.
is, like he knows and like he has his ways of like communicating obviously, but like I would be like, hey dude, like don't do that, or hey get down, and there wasn't a like yes Miss Savannah, or like like there was no dialogue or no like connection, but like he understood.
Right.
But I was like, oh my gosh, like props to the people
Yeah.
who do this all, like I cannot. And then you said
Yeah,
that you will go continue go.
yeah, it's like a specialized field. It's kind of
Mhm.
hard to find people who are interested in that type of thing, just because it is so challenging and it is tough to communicate with someone who's not able to communicate back. Um,
Yeah.
so I love it. I think it's just so fascinating.
Yes, it is. It's cool to see how their brains work. Like this past summer, I had a ton of kids who had autism that were at my summer camp, and like just like seeing them interact with other kids or like seeing them being treated the same even though they're different. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, you guys. So, but like, what? So, what made you choose wanting to work with autistic people or people with autism?
So it really kind of got me started back in my undergraduate degree. I had a friend, he was visually impaired, and well,
Mhm,
he still is visually impaired. And I really got to see how the world treated him and how the world was not constructed for people with disabilities of all
mhm,
kind. Um, so that kind of it instilled a drive in me to want to fight for their rights, fight for their equality and equity, just as what everyone else does.
mhm,
The community is often forgotten about, and it breaks my heart because they're
mhm.
people too. So that really is what pushed me to do what I want to do. Um,
That's really
but I
cool.
like the mental health side. I like to work through emotions and work through all that, process everyone what you're thinking.
Yes, that's really cool. Um, okay, now we're
Yeah,
gonna get into the
and
little nitty-gritty.
we
Go,
have
Abril.
some comments on YouTube. I was like, let me try to squeeze it in here. So real quick, so Dean that he said, "Hi Chris, woot woot," and then he was talking, you guys talking about COVID. He's like, "Oh no, not COVID, LOL." And then whenever you're talking about like where you're from, your hometown, he said representing, clap clap. So there you go. You're
Yeah.
watching out there.
Okay. So now we had some viewers send us some questions. So we're going to kind of get into them a little bit more. So this first question comes from JQ. And his question said, how do you help other brothers who are queer feel welcome?
Ooh, JQ, hey, he's my bro. I love him. Um, I think it is important to make not only people who are queer or who are part of the LGBTQIA plus community feel welcome, but to make everyone feel welcome. Um, we should strive to better our community and better the world as a whole, and that just means being inclusive and being open-minded for everyone. Specifically within a fraternity, which is has the machismo culture, has um, the masculinity stereotype. I think just be who you are. When I was first interested in joining a fraternity, I told my friend, I was like, dude, I'm gonna go, but I'm gonna go and I'm gonna beat my face. Like my face is gonna be beaten to the gods, and I want to see how they're gonna react. Like first meetup, I want to see how these people are gonna react because that's gonna tell me if they are with it or if they're against it.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember and I went to the door and they opened the door. And of course, the first initial reaction is you're expecting someone to be like, oh, hello, welcome. But no, like I remember my bro, his name's Juan Garcia. He goes to UNT now. He opened the door for me and he was like, hey, what's up, Chris? Like, welcome in. Like, go ahead, make yourself comfortable. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh, this is not what I expected.
Yeah.
So then when I walked into the house, then there was more of the bros there. Everyone was like, hey, what's up? My name is so and so. So nice to meet you. And I'm like, oh, y'all don't
Like,
care.
y'all are all okay with this? Like,
It didn't phase them at all. Like it was just like no reaction. And that's what was amazing. Like I think people should be able to walk into a space and just feel no different and just join the vibe. And that's definitely what it was
mm-hmm.
within the Phi Delta chapter. So I loved it so much. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I try to do. I try to beat my face still and go to Greek events and be flamboyant and be myself because there is someone in the crowd looking and watching. They're paying attention and maybe they're
Mm-hmm.
interested and maybe, they're trying to find a family just like I was trying to.
Yeah, that's the thing that I like about MGC orgs is that like we're also like welcoming, like just like the if like vibes initially, like even Chris, like I don't know if you remember this, but like you were one of the very first like Greek people that I talked to at UNT, like after our
Okay.
class. And so like
Oh, I
just
think I do. Yes.
talking to because I think I was like inviting you to an event that we were having, like that SDL was having. And just like I was like, wow, like this is so much fun. So like you like the fact that you continue to just promote that, not even just for your org, but also for like everybody, like you're just such a welcoming and just sweet, kind person. And like I
I
just
try to. I think I think that's something important. Like I wear
Mhm,
my letters with pride and I want to represent my organization and myself in a positive light. And the only way to do that is to network and to meet people. And that's the whole point of going Greek, like to meet people and expand your network. And that's
mhm,
something that I will always do. Anytime that I'm at a function or a takeover or a hump night, I'm gonna always go up to random people and I'm gonna say what's up. And
mhm.
maybe it's like the Mexican culture engraved in me. Like I have to go and greet everyone.
Hi, hello everybody, hi. And say
Yeah,
bye to
yeah,
everybody.
yeah. That's how I am. That's how I was raised. So
Yeah.
I definitely try to make the effort to make each person feel welcome, even
Mhm,
if they're not messing with the vibe. If they don't like it, okay,
mhm.
cool. At least I said I did my part and I said what's up. So
Yeah.
I'll
That's
say we
true.
have a little comment on YouTube. Okay, sorry if I say pronounce this wrong, but okay. Sally says,
like, yeah,
"What?
mom.
Oh, you know her already? Yeah, she's sending you
Yeah.
some heart emojis out there."
Hey, grandma, mom.
Aw. Um, okay. Next. Well, okay. Next question. What advice do you have for people a part of the LGBTQIA plus community who want to go Greek?
I definitely will recommend you do your research. Um, Look into the organizations, look on their Instagram, go to their national page, and just look at the type of people that are in their organization. You'll see like-minded people or people who look like you, and go check it out. But I will say every campus is different. Just because you see something online or you go to one school and you love the vibe at this school doesn't
Mhm.
mean that the school you're going to go to is going to have the same vibe with the same organizations. Every single person's different, every chapter's different, and I think that's something that people need to understand. um, because there's some people who go to a big school and they're like, hey, I really love this chapter there, but at my school they're just so different and like I don't understand. Cool, maybe that's not your family. Go look at other organizations. It's okay to go look around and see what interests you. Ask questions, don't be scared. Like, to me, joining my fraternity is a lifelong commitment. I'm going to be a beta to the day that I die, and I
Mhm.
want to know what I'm going to get into. I had to research the organization and really ask myself, is this what I want to continue for the rest of my life? Like, is this something that I want to do, and support? And being an SLB was. Um,
Mhm.
so, yeah, definitely do your research and look on Instagram. Look at them pictures.
For sure, do your research, and talk to people who are in the org, but like, and just be like, hey, like, so what, like, what's the tea spill? All of that stuff.
Yeah,
'Cause-
and I love that. Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
no, you go first. You go first.
I love that because there was one time I was at a takeover at UNT and I had my face beat. I was wearing heels. I had just came from like a fashion show.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like full get up, was very femme, feeling
Mm-hmm.
the fantasy. And this dude came up to me and he was a foreign exchange student. And he was like, why, why would you do this? And I'm like, what do you mean? He was like, why would you be in a fraternity and like you're dressed this way? And I was like, because this is my family. Like, they accept me for who I am and they don't judge me for who I am. They love me with open arms. And um, he looked at me and he was like, oh, like they accept gay people. And I'm like, yeah, like look at me, like I'm here, like this is what I like. And everyone's different. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times I think the queer community closes themselves off to different opportunities because of their fears, and they're
Mm-hmm.
scared to put themselves out there because it is scary. You don't know how people are going to react. um,
Mm-hmm.
but just know it can go either way. It can go really good, it can go really bad. If it goes bad, then girl, get out of there and go to the next.
For
um,
real.
yeah, so
Like, you just have to make sure, like you said, like it'll either be a good experience or a bad experience, but you won't know what the experience is going to be if you don't put yourself out there. So
yeah,
like,
for sure. And for me, coming from one chapter to another chapter, so I went from the Phi Delta chapter, Puro Desmadre Phi Delta at SFA. Then I came to the infamous Theta Beta chapter at UNT. I was definitely very nervous. Like, it was like I was meeting the bros all over again with my full face.
mm-hmm.
I remember we went to Fry, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go and I'm gonna have a good time. And they're either gonna like me or they're gonna not. So then I remember they saw me and they were like, "Oh my God, Chris!" And it was like no reaction, and I'm like, "Yep, we're gonna have this is gonna be a good chapter. This is gonna be a good time." So yeah, shout out to the infamous Data Beta Bros too for loving me and accepting me. I appreciate all the love too.
Oh, what was I gonna say? You said something. Oh, that's the one thing that I like. Well, like at UNT, anytime I go for like a takeover or whatever, there's so many like students just walking around and watching, and that's not something that we have at TWU because like we're a smaller campus. But like anytime I'm there, there's like always people watching and like asking questions. They're like, "Hey, so like, what's this?" And then just like getting the chance to like explain it to them. So it's kind of cool, like having those different interactions in different like spaces, I guess you could say.
Yes, yeah, for sure.
I was gonna say, can you explain what a takeover is? Because I know, like at UTA, we call it something different. So I was like, for anyone
Yeah.
who is like doesn't use the term takeover, what is a takeover?
Yeah, so when I at SFA we call them hump nights. So it's a stroll night basically is what it is. Everyone goes to the yard or whatever location it's at and they stroll. Um, so we called it hump night at SFA. So then when I came to UNT, they were like, pull up to the takeover, and I'm like
Like,
what are we taking over? Like what's the deal? What's going down? Like, I was ready to
mhm,
go.
mhm,
But they're like, no, like it's called a takeover. Like you're taking over the yard. You're gonna go stroll in the yard. And I'm like,
mhm.
oh, okay, okay. So it's a hump night, a stroll night, a takeover. What do y'all call it at UTA?
We just say a stroll off.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because same thing too. When I first went over there, my sister was like, "Oh yeah, come to the takeover." I was like, "What's a takeover?" I was so lost, and then I was like, "Oh, okay, it's this." I was like, "Oh."
You're
Then
like,
I like
oh,
how
it's
every country, yeah,
Yeah,
every
you
little
finna
country has
stroll.
its
That's what
name.
it is.
And then real quick, we do have another comment here from YouTube. This is from
Aw.
Laura. So it says, "We love you, Chris." From your tia, kissing emoji. There you go.
mm,
Yes, my second mom, my tia. Love her. And I shout out to my family. They're a huge support system. Um, it was interesting journey becoming comfortable in the skin that I'm in. Um,
mhm,
and having support from your family definitely means the world. Has definitely made the journey a lot easier. Because some
mhm.
people don't have that, and I've got to experience both sides. So, love you, yeah, love my family.
Aw. Okay, since you brought it up, let's get into that. How is that like coming out? Or like what age were you? Like what's the give the whole story?
Yeah, so I really got inspired. I believe it was 2016. I had saw on
The
the
Draw
news
My
that yeah. I have it in my notes, girl. Don't play me. Yeah, it's in my notes.
Life?
Um, but I was watching the news, and that's when the gay marriage was legalized. And I was like, oh my God, like, this is crazy. I was junior year, and it was going into the junior year. And I was like, oh my
Mhm,
God, like, this is crazy. Like, there's hope. Like, there's, some form of hope for me later on in the future. Because I mean, I want to have a husband. I want to get married. I want to live my life, just like anyone
mhm.
else wants to.
Yeah.
So then I told my besties, I was like, let's go have a picnic. And we went and had a picnic, and it was super cute. And um, I told them, and it was just good time. So then I came out to
Mhm,
my friends then, and then I came out to my parents going into senior year. It was difficult to say the least. It was an interesting journey. Of course, it was just a lot of unknown and being re-educated on how things are. I grew up very Catholic and grew up um, very Chicano, traditional Mexican household. So being
mhm.
gay is like not something that's accepted ever. Um,
Yeah.
my mom accepted me open arms, love her. My
Mhm,
dad, it was a rocky journey, and I love him. He is one of the reasons why I do what I do, because I am changing his mind and I'm educating him on what it's like um, to be gay in today's world. Like
mhm.
it's not all as bad as people make it seem to be. And I think
Yeah.
that was really one of their biggest concerns. My parents' biggest concerns for me was the life that I'm gonna live because I'm gay, because I'm gonna face adversity, I'm gonna face discrimination, I'm gonna face all of these horrible things that no one should ever have to face. But at the
Mhm,
same time, I did want to live my most authentic life. Um,
mhm,
so yeah, it was an interesting journey. Um, but yeah, I came out as gay. I'm more on the queer spectrum now.
mhm,
I do think gender is fluid. I'm sorry, not gender. Gender is fluid too, but I
mhm.
do think sexuality is on a spectrum, and it's can change as you go through life. So I
Yeah.
am queer. I'm just out there. I just love who I love, and I'm gonna
Like
take the time
run
loving people.
yeah, that's really cool. I also came out my senior year, so it's kind of weird. We're like right here.
Edward,
Um,
my sand, don't play, girl, don't play.
no, so like I definitely relate to where you're coming from, where it's like one parent was like, okay, whatever, and then the other one's like, girl, what are you doing? So
Yes.
we're right here.
Yeah, and
Um,
I'm an only child too, so it was
mhm,
even tougher. Like I don't have siblings, I didn't have anyone to lean on. Um, I'm the oldest, I'm the first grandkid, the first kid in the family, so like it was
mhm,
definitely a lot of pressure to be like the stereotypical Mexican man of the
mhm,
house. Um, but I do think I was born to break generational curses and to try and educate my family on to be open minded and how to love everybody, because
mhm.
Y'all love me when y'all thought I was straight. Y'all gonna love me now because I'm even more comfortable. Like, don't play.
For real. That's crazy.
Oh,
I was gonna say I'm the oldest too, so like having to navigate the world as the oldest and being like, oh my gosh, like I have all this pressure on me. So
It's a lot.
it is a
Hey, but
lot.
we're here. We're here. Don't play. We're
For
here,
real.
bro.
For real, for
so
real.
on the same thing as like, so who would you say was like your biggest like support system or like your biggest supporter?
Ooh.
Oh, I will always say my biggest when I came out, my biggest supporters were my best friends. I'm still best friends with them to this day since high school.
Mhm.
Aaron, Maya, Bella, we always cut up and act a fool, but they were always there for me no matter what. Like, they were my number one people that I called when I was having a rough day. And, when the girls get together, the girls have a good time.
Mhm.
But throughout life, things have changed. And now my number one supporter would be my mom. 100%. She is curious about things and she doesn't know certain things when it comes to being gay and queer culture, but she's not scared to ask, which is great. I'm glad that she's not scared to ask me questions and
Mhm.
be curious, because it shows that she's thinking and it shows that she's wanting to know and educate herself on this culture. So yeah, mom is number one supporter. So
That's so sweet. I'm gonna cry. That's so sweet. It's kind of crazy. This is like not on topic of what we're talking about, but it's so crazy how like our relationships with our parents change over time. Like specifically, well, with me because I'm the oldest girl. So like specifically, like with my mom, like our relationship was not it growing up because we're also the same sign too. So like we would
ooh,
butt heads, we argue all the time. We still argue now, but like whenever I went to college, I was like, I'm not ever gonna talk to my mom. Like, I'll call her when I call her. And then like I don't know what clicked in my head, but now I call her literally every single day. Like I cannot go a day without
right.
mom and like being like, girl, you won't believe what just happened today, and like
Same.
all of that stuff. So it's weird how like growing up and all of the things. But
Yes,
to
I feel you there.
a more lighter um topic. This question came from Multicultural Greeks United. What is your favorite thing about your fraternity and why did you join?
Ooh, I think my favorite thing about my fraternity is that it is Latino based, and I do love my culture, and that's something that I wanted to support and educate myself more about. I also love my fraternity because of the people at the Phi Delta chapter. They're the most open, diverse, most welcoming chapter that I've ever met in the whole nation of Beta worldwide. Like, I've never met another chapter as diverse and welcoming as Phi Delta. Um, there was people who were like me, and there was more than one gay bro. Like, we have a gay bro who's number 9. Like, I'm honestly, I don't know his number, but don't quote me. But yeah, like, there was gay bros even way before me, and that just really interests me. And it shows me that the foundation of inclusivity and diversity has always been there, and I think Phi Delta chapter will always carry it that way. um, so yeah, that's number one why I love my fraternity, is because of the people. um, it's just great. We have, even nationwide, we have a fraternity, we have a Facebook group of only the gay bros, and like, it's just us gay bros, and I love it. And it's just like, oh my god, like, these are my people, like, these are my bros, these are my girls.
Mhm.
So I just love that.
That's really cool that y'all have like a your own like separate space or um
Real quick before we go on, we have another little comment by Bola. So hearts, hearts, hearts,
Hey,
hearts, hearts.
hey,
hi
boy.
little um okay. That's my little. I love her so much. Number one
She's so
support.
cute. She's always the first one in the line strolling. Like, she's always
That's
in the
my I
front.
raised her right. I raised her right.
She eats it up, eats it up.
um I love that girl. I can't remember what question that I just asked you. Oh, well, we'll do this one. What's your favorite memory as an undergrad? This came from CJ23 Caesar.
Hey, Caesar. Oh, this one's kind of tough. Um, why did this play? Okay, I don't know why my music started playing. Okay, it was playing "Cut That," and ain't nothing to cut that off. It started playing in my ear, and I'm like, "What?
You're
What?
like,
Who we cutting off? Who we cutting off?" I definitely think my favorite memory of undergrad is going to be my. We have this thing in our Phi Delta chapter. It's called Project Grad, which is like our graduation, basically like a Project X party. I'm not gonna lie. So we had
okay.
a great time. We was turning up. In that semester, fall 21, I was the only bro that was graduating. So
Oh, so it
I
was
had my own
lit.
party. Yeah, I had my own party. And it was at my house, and we had like a 2-story house, and basically the house party turned into like a giant block party, and like D9 was there, MGC was there, IFC was there, Panhellenic was there. It was just like a great time.
So the
I,
project grad, is that like it's like an SFA thing, and then like each thing has their own party, or was it just like your party and then everybody pulled up?
yeah, it was my party, and everybody pulled up. Don't play.
I was like,
Okay.
well, talking about that party, someone over here made a comment, said that night was lit.
Yes,
That
ma'am. That's my
damn.
girl, Diana. She's there. She's an LTA. She's a founding sister. Don't play her.
Okay,
Um,
period.
yeah, so it was. We had some good times, and I think that's one of my favorite memories of undergrad. Is definitely the Greek people that I've met my senior year, because that's honestly when I stopped caring and like, I mean, I cared about my grades. I got the degree. Don't play. But
Mhm.
I just had fun. Like I just didn't care what people thought, and I just did what I wanted to because I wanted to. So
That's really cool. That's all the DFW Greeks. Let's get on that. Let's have
right.
a big old party. That would be so fun.
I'm
Um,
ready. I'm ready. Don't play.
okay. Next question is from Caesar. It says, "What is your favorite stroll?"
Ooh, I think my favorite stroll will always be back that ass up. I love it because that's this. Well, I didn't have a probate, so I had a little video. My video is the best video out there. Don't play. I don't care what anyone else says. My video is really good. Um, we ate it up. Me and my LBs ate it up. But that was a stroll we strode to in our stroll video, and that song just has so many memories from COVID. Um, Teaching my LBs how to stroll, and yeah, one of my LBs doesn't really know how to stroll that well. Shout out to Angel, my chain. But me and I'm the ancla, and there's a captain. There's 3 of us. So me and Larian were like the musical people. Like we had rhythm, we could stroll, and we had to get Angel. It was like stroll boot camp, girl. It was a rough time. So back that ass up is definitely always my favorite for the memories.
I swear, anytime you answer a question, it's like, oh my gosh, me too. Back that ass was my first skill that I learned during my process, and like having to like, oh my gosh,
Are
having
we
to.
twins? Are we the same person?
That's what I'm picking up here. So you're like, back that ass, and I was like, that was one of my first strolls, but it's not my favorite. I actually do not like that stroll. Sorry to any of my
Mm.
sisters that are watching this. Please,
Hey, I
I'm sorry.
only like that one because that one I can kick my leg. Wow, you know me, I can kick my leg up high, so I'll be yeah every time it comes on.
For real. So that's funny. Um.
Ooh, I
So
have
the
a
next,
question real quick before you go on
yeah,
to the next one. I was
go ahead.
like, so I know if anyone saw here on DTT Taps, he had posted a video of you chilling by yourself. So how is that like? Because I feel like normally people always get nervous, strolling, especially if it's by yourself. So how is that strolling by yourself?
Oh.
And then we'll
Strolling
go
by
to
yourself. Strolling by yourself is so stressful. Like I don't really do it that often. Um, Only if I'm really feeling myself. If like I'm really feeling myself, I'll do it. But also I'll do it if they're doing roll call and I'm the only one in my organization and I love my organization so much, I'm gonna stroll because I mean I know I look good and I love my organization. So why not? Like, I'm not gonna let someone else show me up. Like I gotta hold it down. I'm an
Mhm,
ancla, so I always gotta hold it down for my organization. Um,
mhm.
but yeah, if you want to stroll alone, I definitely recommend making sure you record yourself. watch your videos, make sure you know how you look, and so that way you can work the crowd as much as you want to work that crowd, because all eyes are on you at that point. So
no, strolling alone, people who stroll alone, props to y'all. So I'm like, I need one other person. If I don't have my other person, I'm not going. I've seen, well, we kind of talked a little bit about it on another episode, but like all of the just hate, and we can kind of get into that too, because I saw like your comments under that stuff.
yeah, get into the hate, girl. Get into the hate. I'm ready
Okay, so
for it.
since we're on the topic of strolling, we'll get into it. But like strolling alone, I just don't want to end up on Greek wars. I don't want to end up on Greek shenanigans. I'm not trying to end up on nobody's TikTok. Y'all got it. I'm good.
That is like, that's one of my main concerns. Like, I don't want to end up like on Greek shenanigans, because since we are an MGC organization, there's automatic, like that's automatic check boxes. Yeah, so it's always people gonna think it's cultural appropriation. I'm a beta, so we have the sigmas, the time and time again. The story is told. I'm not gonna waste my breath. But I think it's just good to know that if you stroll alone, you have to stroll good. Like, you have to know and you have to own it. Like, yeah, you can do the movements, but if your face is not giving, and like if you're not putting a little razzle dazzle on it, your own little flair, the video is not gonna give ever. So that's why you have to go all out. Like, you have to do the extraness, like all that, you can do it. So yeah, definitely strolling alone is something I worried about. But me personally, I know I stroll pretty decent and I'm pretty comfortable in my strolls. So I'll only go out alone if it's a song that I know I'm gonna eat it up.
Yes. Agreed. Actually, I retract my statement. If it's a song that I know that I can slay, then I'll think about it.
Okay, so I'm gonna see you out there this fall.
I don't know about that.
So talking about that real quick, so we have a comment. Well, we have 3, but one of them was TWU. He did amazing. So
thank you, DJ Dean.
Yeah, DJ Dean. And then we have over here, Luis. He said, "Period."
Yes, sir.
And then real quick, just for anyone on the comments, DJ Dean Thap said, "Feel free to ask questions on the chat, and we'll get to it."
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes. But yeah. I just think, okay, backtracking to the hate comments.
Okay, go girl. I'm ready for it.
Okay, so like for SDL specifically, I know, because like I've talked to our founders and everything, they took things that they got from D9 orgs. Like they would talk to the noobs and the alphas at Texas State, and they were like, hey, we want to make an org. Give us some ideas. Like, what can we do? So like pretty much every little thing that we do comes from a D9 org. And then obviously for betas and gammas, like what y'all do comes directly from like what y'all got from a D9 member.
Right.
So it's just like, obviously, if these people back in the like early 90s, late 80s, like, in the 19s,
girl, don't make me sound old. I was born in 98. You making me sound old.
In the 19 something, like if those people didn't have an issue with it, like why are we trying to create or stir the pot of something that older people have already accepted? And then with like seeing people in the comments, like there were alphas in the comments, there were sigmas in the comments, there were zetas, like there were so many D9 orgs in those comments being like, y'all are doing way too much. Because like all of these people that are commenting that stuff are just regular people, and it's like, bro, you think that we would do this if we weren't educated about it?
Right.
So it's just like annoying.
I think the main thing with that is that I don't believe in tearing down other organizations, because every organization is special in their own way, and they all help out the community in whatever way possible that they can. Like every single, so far what I've seen, every single chapter has their own little foundation, organization, fundraiser that they do. And I think that's fantastic. So why talk crap about other organizations that are only there to do good? Like,
Literally.
why bring negative energy into a space that is completely filled in like love and positivity? Like,
Mhm.
when we're out there strolling, we're having a good time. Like, everyone's laughing, everyone's smiling, everyone's having a good time. Yeah, it's competitive, and yeah, it's like, oh, who's gonna outstroll who? Like,
Yeah.
it's okay to have that competitiveness and that nature in you. But at the end of the day, like, we all say hello to each other. We all say what's up. Like, it's
Mhm.
really no hate. Don't be ugly to each other. Like, there's no point of tearing down an organization. Just build them up. Like,
Literally.
and people are quick to comment and put these comments out there for clout, and they want the likes, and that's what people are obsessed with. They're obsessed with being famous and obsessed with the likes. Like,
Mhm.
get over it. I can get 5 likes on a comment. I can get 100 likes on a comment. I'ma still be the same bitch and say the same comment. Like, it is what it is.
For
So
real.
don't be wishy-washy. Don't be fake, because I've met a lot of people who are in D9 organizations who love MGC and like love what we do, love what we stand for. They understand that we are our own community within itself.
Mhm.
But then I've met D9 people who are just like not wanting to educate themselves and not wanting to open their minds. And I'm just like, you can't be closed-minded all your life. Like,
I got
how
something
far
to
how far is that going to get you? Like, being closed-minded, good luck. Tell me how far in life you're going to get being closed-minded,
say.
especially this day and age.
Literally, my mom's an SGRO. I've mentioned this before on another podcast, but she just crossed. And so she was talking to like her sisters, and she was like, "Oh yeah, my daughter's a part of like an MGC org, blah blah blah." And like the first thing that she said, the first thing that came out of one of her sisters' mouths, like everyone was like, "Oh, that's so cool! Like y'all are both like part of Greek life, blah blah blah." And then there's a sister, "Ugh, I hate MGC orgs. Like they just steal everything that we do." And my mom was like, she just gave her the side eye and was like, okay, like what was the point of like saying that? And then she told me, and I was like, she's just uneducated. My mom was like,
Yeah,
yeah. And my sister was backing me up. She was like, doesn't she know that multicultural means multi cultures? And I was like, exactly, period. But yeah, so
yeah.
like just
And
uneducated.
I think the main thing is yes, strolling does come from Africa, and it's an African form of dance, and
Mm-hmm.
D9 learned that, from that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, people often forget that there's indigenous Mexican people and indigenous tribes down there who do the same thing. They dance in unity to show that they are a conjoined group of people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of times people only focus on one part of the world, but don't look at what was going on at the same time in other part of the world. Like, there's a lot of similarities, and things are, very similar. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying that we are taking things from African culture, but I'm not saying all Mexican culture strolls either. It's just like MGC is a multitude of different cultures. We're just a, I don't want to say melting pot, but more of like a mixed salad of
Okay.
different things that are in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, side note, I don't like melting pot because that just means like you're assimilating all the cultures, and like cultures are blending within each other.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that. I love my culture. I love being a Chicano. I love being Mexican.
Mm-hmm.
So I think describing it more of like a salad, like each individual vegetable can still be pulled out and be tell apart, is a good
Mm-hmm.
way to describe it. So yeah, that was my little side note.
Okay, we have here some comments. Adriana said, "I love this discussion." Plus, Chris, I love your makeup. So, hey,
Thanks, girl. Get it. If my camera was better, girl, I'd get into the face, but we working with what we got.
we also have some period Chris over here and another one over here. So, hey, keep it going.
Yes, but I never thought about the melting pot comment. The more you know, the more
Yeah,
you
because melting. I don't want to melt cultures together. Like, I don't. I'm sorry, I'm not that type of girl. Like, I love seeing individual cultures and seeing in each independent organization. Like, I think that is
Mhm.
fantastic. So, a good little Caesar salad is cute. We can still pick out the veggies and tell
Mhm.
things apart. So
And we
yeah,
can still come together and be something good. So
right. Period.
yay. Okay. So we did that one. So this question is back on topic. Are you treated differently because of your identity?
Yes, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Yes, 100%. Like, every time I go to a Greek function, whether usually I go to probates and my face is beat. Like, I know I'm not gonna sweat that much, so I'm gonna go with a beat face. If it's more of like a takeover, hump night, stroll off, I'm not gonna beat my face because I know the makeup is just gonna come right off. But yeah, people stare, people look. Um, I get treated differently, and I don't want to say it's mostly in a negative way. Some of it is positive. Like people come up to me and they're more friendly with me and they're more open to wanting to know about me compared to some of my straight bros. Like, you know, sometimes women don't feel comfortable approaching straight men. Like it's just scary. So having me as like a buffer and show them like, hey, these straight guys are actually really nice because they like me. Like, you know, they accept me. So it is pretty cool to help bridge that gap and um, help people stop treating people differently. I don't like how there's this machismo and then women are feeling intimidated to talk to these straight men. And I'm like, no, they're not scary. Like, trust me, look at me. I'm a part of them. Like, well, I'm not straight, but I'm a part of the group.
Yeah,
But
that's cool. Yeah, definitely the, oh, if you come up to me, then it's like a, like you said, like a little.
yeah, it's a little buffer, you know?
um, oh, I don't know if we already asked you this question, but how did older members from your org help you feel welcomed when you joined? We kind of touched a little bit.
Yeah, I kind of touched a little bit. There's some older bros in my chapter that are part of the LGBTQIA community. Um, Basically, my whole kind of family, for a certain part of my family tree, we're all kind of gay. So it's me, I'm gay. Then there's my big, his name's Brian, he's gay. My G big, his name is Monty, and he's gay. So then I have my littles, and I have J David, and I have Leo. They're both gay. And then I have like my G littles, they're gay. Like, you know, it's just like we keep ourselves in mind. Um, I definitely think it's my chapter that helped welcome me more than anything. They were already open-minded and didn't have any biases or, um, I don't know, a stigma against people who are a part of the community. I've definitely met a bunch of older heads from other chapters who, of course, like it's their age, it's the day and age that they were raised. I can't really change that. That's how they were brought up. It was, you know, engraved in their mentality to have these thoughts. But it does help being openly gay and going to them looking like this and being like, hey, like, I'm your bro. Shake my hand. Yeah, I'm your bro. Yeah, you got a gay bro.
Just basically, like, yeah,
Yeah.
like, cause what can you do? Like at that point, like just not shake my hand. Then it's like, okay, now you're disrespectful.
Yeah, and
But
then that's gonna be the real tea. Like, oh, you want to be known as that kind of bro? Okay, sure. You know.
so since we're kind of talking about like the culture of like straight people and gay people or queer people, whenever, because I have a boss who's older. He was like in high school in like 2015, so that like, oh, that's gay era. And one time I was in his office and he was like, ugh, he said something along the lines of, oh, that's gay. And I was like, that's wrong. Like, you shouldn't say things like that. And like, he actually got genuinely like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so sorry, like, so apologetic and everything. And I was like, yeah, you need to watch yourself, correct your behavior. So like, have you
Yeah.
ever had to like get onto a brother like that?
Yes, there was one time I was at someone's apartment and there was a bro that walked in and was just like, "What's up, faggots?" And I'm like, oh, word. So he didn't know I was there. So then I like poke my head out and I look at him and I'm looking at him and he looks at me and he's just like, oh, I didn't know you were here. And I was like, that you shouldn't even have said that. Like, it doesn't matter if you know that I'm here or not. You should never say that word. Like, regardless if I'm here or not, don't say that word unless you are a part of the community. I've had to correct people's actions and sometimes just educate people, mostly just on pronouns and just things that people just nonchalantly say. I understand that were raised a certain way, especially if you are of brown skin. It's more, you know, you were taught a certain way.
Yeah.
So it's just breaking that thing that's stuck in their head. I'd have to educate them new, educate them different. Um, and again, that's why I wear what I wear. I beat my face how I beat my face, and I act how I act because what like y'all need to learn. Y'all, not everyone is going to be the same stereotypical person that comes into this organization. Like,
Yeah.
be open to everyone who wants to learn more and be a part of the brotherhood.
Mm-hmm. For sure, for sure. And then, so like, kind of with that same thing, is the next question is, what's the best way for you to promote an inclusive environment for queer culture?
By my gamma daughter. Hey, Danny. The best way for me to promote an inclusive culture, I think it's just to be accepting. Like,
Mm-hmm.
don't. A lot of times you go to functions as a Greek person and everyone stays in their clique. Like, you can tell, you can see the cliques, everyone's in their own circle. Like,
Mm-hmm.
go mingle, go meet people. For me, if I was a GDI, someone who's not Greek,
Mm-hmm.
um, I would want to see someone who's mingling with everyone. Like, I wouldn't want to join an organization who just sticks with themselves. Like, that just shows that they're just being closed minded to begin with. Like, I want to go to the organization that is socializing and being around with everyone. The more social and the more at ease and more welcoming you are, it's just
Mm-hmm.
going to be inclusive for everybody. Um, Gay bros, like, go to events with your boyfriend or your partner. Like, if you have a partner, go to the event with them. Like, show and be proud, because our straight bros are gonna bring their girlfriends. I tell you that. I know they finna bring their girlfriends. So why can't y'all bring y'all's boyfriends or y'all's partners? Like, just be you, and
Mm-hmm.
you'll find the family that caters towards you, and you'll the gravity of people will come towards you by just being yourself. So
Or, and then I have a question that kind of ties to this one, is how do you advocate for people who are queer, or like whenever they're trying to pass new, not laws, what are they called? Like sections, I guess, and
mhm.
like your bylaws and your constitutions and stuff that have to do with the queer community. So how do you advocate for people that in that sense, and like the business side of Greek life?
Yeah, so on the business side of Greek life, that's something that's not really talked about a lot. There's a lot of work that goes into running all of these organizations. Like, if you're a president or on the e-board, props to y'all, because it takes a village to run a whole organization. Um, with the recent things with like the SB, I believe it's what, SB 17 bill that just got passed in Texas.
For the
Um,
diversity.
yeah,
Yeah.
my advice is just don't stop being you. Like, don't stop doing what y'all been doing. Like, who's finna Greg Abbott finna come pull up right now and finna shut it down? I doubt it. I doubt it. So that's one thing. Like, the business side of it is definitely a tough aspect to tackle, but always
Mhm,
present yourself in a good professional face, and be educated before you go and confront someone. Always know what you're talking about. um,
mhm,
don't go support something, and if you are uneducated, let it be known, like, hey, I don't really know much about this topic, but can you please teach me more? And that
mhm.
shows that you're wanting to educate your organization, and fight for what is right and the justice that we need.
Period. It is hard, the business side of like Greek life, especially with everything that's happening like right now. Like I don't know how long ago this was. It was like a couple of months ago with the transgender girl who was in some sorority, and she wanted to live in their sorority house, but they were like, no, because you don't have the same parts as me. And so like it was this whole like internet debate and everything. So whenever I see things like that, I'm like, were these not questions that you asked beforehand, like before you took this member in, and being like, hey,
Exactly.
this is something that could potentially happen, this is something that they could potentially want, and how are we going to face it whenever the time does come? So I was like, they
Right.
could have handled that whole entire situation better. They were like, we don't want her in our house.
Right.
But,
And I think that can go back into it to, when you're looking for these organizations, ask these questions. Like,
mhm,
don't be scared to tell people who you are, because that's who you are, and they need to know who you are. Like, you're important, you matter. So let them know, like, hey, I'm this and that. Like, is that going to be a problem moving forward? Some
mhm,
people may say no, and they may say what they need to say in order to get the numbers and get the people that they want.
mhm,
Just be cautious, and just you know test the boundaries, push the limits, be gay, be unapologetically you.
mhm.
And if they love you, they love you, and if they hate you, then it'll be obvious. And don't join. Please
Yeah,
don't.
yeah. It sucks whenever there's like situations like that, though. Whenever there's somebody who wants to be Greek but they can't because
Right.
of whatever stigmas that they have. Um, this girl that I knew at TWU, she wanted to join an organization, but they told her no because she didn't want to wear the specific attire that they had for them, which was,
Mhm.
I think, skirts. And she was like, I don't like wearing skirts and I don't want to wear a skirt. Is there something that you can do for me to like make me feel more included? And they were like, sorry, no. And then like just was like, peace out, girl, bye. And I
Yeah.
felt bad for her because I was like, that sucks that you can't, that they couldn't make the environment more inclusive for you or more safe for you over a skirt. So they
Right.
just completely missed out on a member because you didn't want to wear a skirt. So it's like, oh,
Yeah, yeah. Things like that, I'm just like, really, like, at least they told her up front, because if I would have paid my money, I would have been, give me a refund. I need my money back right now.
for real. For real. But those are all the questions that we got from Instagram. So I'm gonna open it up to our viewers. If y'all have any comments or questions or anything that you want to hear about, y'all can leave them down below in the little comment box. And we will get to them once they start flowing in. Um,
Period.
but yeah, so it's like I really enjoyed hearing about your story and hearing the like positivity that you had from it. And I feel like that really just kind of shows people um like you can be queer, you can be gay in this space and not face any, well, I don't want to say any, but not face a lot of
Yeah,
like ridicule from it.
yeah,
But
for sure.
So
that
there
brings
is a comment that came in. Okay, so I'm gonna show it up here. So it says, "How do you deal with people who aren't as welcoming?"
Ooh, so people who aren't as welcoming, um, I'm very much on the side that if you're not vibing with me and like you don't want to be around me, that's cool. Like you don't have to say nothing to me. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna pick up on your vibe. Um, so I really don't hang out with those type of people. Um, I've met bros sometimes that are just, like really kind of skeptical about being around me and being close to me.
Mhm.
Honestly, I even get closer to them and like make them more uncomfortable. And that's just the type of person that I am. Like,
Mhm.
I'm your brother. I'm not gonna go nowhere. You're not gonna go nowhere. You're gonna
Mhm.
have to get used to it. And you're gonna have to learn. Like, it is what it is. Um, I don't mind being making other people uncomfortable because they need to know what it feels like. Because how do you think I feel? You're making me uncomfortable? No, I'm gonna make you uncomfortable. I've had to deal with it all my life and I'm tired of it. So I'm
Mhm.
gonna reverse it. What Missy Elliott say? Put my thing down, flip it, and reverse it, girl. Like y'all finna feel uncomfortable now.
Honestly, that's a good way to like kind of think about it or like go about it. Like, oh, okay, you feel some type of way. Now I'm gonna give you a reason to feel some type of way.
Yeah,
Like with your
you wanna
mom, I
know?
don't know if y'all's mom would say this, but like whenever I would cry, she'd be like, for like no reason in her eyes, she'd be like, "Stop crying, or I'm gonna give you something to cry about." So it's basically
Mhm.
like that same type of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because I mean, it is what it is. Like some people
mhm,
aren't gonna vibe with you. Like eventually they'll move away. Like I'm not gonna go out of my way and take myself out of a situation because someone else is uncomfortable. Like if I make you uncomfortable, remove yourself because my presence is known and I'm staying. So
Thank you, Diana, for the question.
Okay, we don't have any questions right now, but
sure.
I'm gonna go on Instagram and see if there were any that I missed or did not
Yes,
say.
but I do thank y'all for inviting me here. I think it's a great thing to have. I when I was looking into Greek life and looking on YouTube, of course, that's like
Mhm.
our day and age Google at this point.
Yeah.
So I was on YouTube looking up Greek videos and what it's like to be gay in Greek life, and there was nothing. Like there was no videos, and I'm like,
Mhm.
well, I'm gonna get the experience, and it's gonna be what it's gonna be. So I'm glad that we do have this recorded, and it's gonna be uploaded to show other people that it is possible, and there's people like you out there. We may be few and far between, but don't play. Don't be scared. Come join and make the community
Mhm.
grow amongst all organizations. So
Mhm.
I totally agree. Cause same thing. I feel like this kind of topics that we don't really talk about, or sometimes it's not even common, and so there are people who want to like join Greeks, but like, oh well, I don't see no one else who's like me, maybe it would intimidate them. So definitely for
yeah,
sure. I know I had people asking that, or not asking, but telling me that they're excited about this topic and about having
yeah,
someone like coming out and talk about it because no one else really talks about it. So
Mhm.
thank
mhm,
you for sure.
yeah,
It
of
was like a
course.
nose goes kind of thing. Like, I'm not gonna say anything. You say it. You
Right,
go.
like who's gonna go first? And I
Yeah.
will be the one to come forward and tell y'all, come and learn. Like, come be curious, go to different org fairs, go to table, be a table hop hoe. Like, do what you need to do to educate
Mhm.
yourself on the organization that you want to join. So,
Mhm. So there are people who are, well, this is like, there are freshmen or just like people in general who are afraid to like be known as like a Greek hopper. And I'm like, on certain, like to a certain extent, it's okay. Cause like, girl, don't tell me that you went and did a interview for this org and then you're now trying to do an interview for my org. But it's
right.
like, okay, yeah, you went to a recruitment event. Everybody does that.
Yeah,
Like,
like go. It's
like
okay to go to different recruitment events. Like, that's why it's like a
that's
week,
what it's
2 week
for.
long.
Yeah.
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 So
I
I,
had a
I
girl.
will I will always love recruitment season. Like when I was an undergrad, that was my thing. Like I was always recruitment chair because I love meeting people. I would literally go out to like go walk around and be like, "Hey, come follow me to this table. Come play. Come learn about this." And that's honestly how I've gotten a lot of our um, right now, like our executive members, like the president of Phi Delta chapter. His name is Matthew, and I pulled him off the streets, girl, and to a tabling event. And I was like, "You look like you would be interested. Come learn. Come learn." So
No, hearing all the different like recruitment event stories from like older sisters, like I'm like that was a different time back then. Because one of my sisters was telling me because we were asking for advice like of like how to recruit whenever we first became a chapter because we never like got to in person.
yeah,
And one of our sisters was like, "Oh, I used to just like pretend like I was going to class with them. Like I would just pretend like we were going to the same building." I was
yeah,
like, "That is psychotic." She's like, "Yeah." I'd be like, "Oh yeah, what class are you going to?" "Oh yeah, me too." And then she was like, we would just talk, and then I'd be like, "Oh, that was very fun talking to you. I'm a part of this." Da, da, da. I was like,
yeah.
genius. If
Yeah, a lot
only.
of the times people are like, "Hey, I'm a beta. We are this, that, and the other." Like they start spitting all the facts, and that
Mhm,
scares people. Like
mhm,
I would be so overwhelmed if you started spitting facts at me. Like, don't do that. Like you don't even know
mhm,
my name. Get to know people before you start recruiting these guys. That's
mhm,
I think what the biggest change in Greek culture nowadays is like people want numbers, people want big lines, but you
mhm.
don't need a big line to have a good chapter. You do not. So
Yeah.
I definitely that's one thing that is I
Mhm,
always love during recruitment season. It's not about the numbers; it's about the quality. You need
mhm.
good people who are going to put in the work for the community.
Yes. And that was a good point that Chris made. If for all of the freshmen who are probably watching this or people who are interested in Greek life that are watching this and you made it this far, um, pay attention to how they introduce themselves to you before you're like you join their org. Like whenever you walk up to their table, how do they greet you? Do they say, "Hey," da 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 da, or do they ask you about your name? Do they ask you your major? I know I make it a point to be like, "How are you? Like, how's your day going? I'm Savannah. What's your name? Like, what's your major? Oh my gosh, that's my major too, you know?" Because like I
Yeah,
just feel like like they'll remember that more than they will remember our philanthropy or like
exactly.
what we did.
Girl, pretty much everyone's pillars are the same. We all got scholarship. We all got community service. We all got like they all
Mhm,
fall along the same lines. The thing that they're
mhm,
gonna remember is the person that they meet. Like, oh
Mhm.
yeah, this person was so nice. Like, they actually got to know me rather than just throwing the organization in my face.
yep.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and so someone said agreed over there. It's
Yes,
Adriana.
girl.
Nice.
And then
Um,
real quick, we also have we have a thank you so much for sharing, Chris. Lots of hearts.
Yeah.
And then we do have another question. Is he asked, how can others reach out to you? I know they would love to meet you.
Yes, so y'all can follow me on Instagram at Chris_Morris98. I have TikTok too. It's my line name. Go through my Instagram, find my line name. It's long. I'm not gonna spell it. It's Ignatius Optimismo. Follow my TikTok. That's where I do my makeup. And I go to UNT, so University of North Texas. So I'm always on the yard up there, either there or at TW. And if I'm not there, then I'm probably at UTA. And if I'm not there, then call me. So
Something is seriously wrong.
yeah, no, I try to go to all the Greek events and meet as many people as possible. Um, Going through the process during COVID, I didn't get to experience that. I didn't get to experience Greek life because everything was with a mask and online, and I didn't get to network. So I guess now that I'm in grad school, I'm playing catch up and networking with all the people that I can.
That's how it feels too. But also, I mean, I guess, well, maybe both of y'all can relate to this, but I'm older than a lot of the Greeks that are, or a lot of the people that are Greek now. So it's kind of like, hey, you want to go to Fry after? Oh no, sorry, I'm not 21. It's like, because I was that member where I was like, everybody's waiting on me to turn 21, and now I'm like, I have to wait years from now for y'all to turn 21. Like, what's going on here? So that's
for sure.
About.
Yeah, I'm 24, so like I guess I'm on older side. I'm in grad school, so age ain't nothing but a number in grad school, okay?
Yeah.
So it is different meeting the younger people and going to all these different events, and they're like, oh yeah, I just crossed, I'm a freshman, and I'm like, oh,
you're a freshman?
I'm an old head. I'm an old head for real.
Literally. Yeah. I mean, in high school, whenever I was crossing, like whenever I was in the top. Like when I think of it that way, I'm like, that too far. But then I do the same thing with my older sisters. Like one time I was talking to one of them, and she was like, yeah, I was a freshman in 1997. I was like, you were in college in 1997? I wasn't even born yet. So like, I don't know, it's like, it's kind of cool to see how like age in Greek life doesn't really play too big of like an issue, because we all have the same like wants and the same like interests and stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the most fascinating things too, is that I meet brothers and sisters who have crossed through alumni networks, and the networking is always there. Like it doesn't ever stop, regardless of age. I can always learn something from someone else. Like we're all studying different things, going into different fields, and the more connections you have, the more people have your back, and I think that's the fun part of it.
For realties. But does anybody else have any questions before we kind of close this out? I don't want to end it with, we still have some people who are don't be shy.
Right, don't be shy. Tap away. Tap away, girl. Tap away.
Comment now or forever hold your peace, like Abril said.
Yes, but if not, then y'all can catch me at the yard. Hopefully it'll get popping this semester.
Hopefully
there'll be some good events. I'm excited.
Fingers crossed. I know some people are cooking.
As long as they're using the right seasonings, I'll be there.
Well, if there are no more questions, we're going to go ahead and end this podcast. Once again, thank you so much for joining us and watching. Leave a comment if you are rewatching the live. If you are a freshman or someone who's interested in Greek life and you're watching, leave a comment, like it, share it. You can listen to this podcast anywhere that you listen to podcasts. Thank you, Chris, so much for joining us and sharing your experience and all of the things. Thank you, Abril, for being my comment sharer.
The moderator.
Keeping us on track. Right. Thanks, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.